morning, noon, afternoon, evening, and night to all. Welcome back to ATSCast. This is your neighborhood dude, Jude, your host, and with me is the rest of the ATS Heartbeat, as usual. So say what's up, Abid.
What's Gucci Gang? Um, for people who might not know me, hi, I'm Abid. I'm in Toronto, Canada, 22 years old, and I'm a university student currently dying because of my midterms and assignments. Haha. How about you, Aaron?
We're 22? Holy shit.
I,
Sorry.
I'm, I mean, I'm a year older than you, but
oh shit. I'm 22 this year. Anyway, sorry. Hi guys. My name is Aaron. I'm a student in Malaysia. And yeah, I'm 22 this year. 21 right now. Ben?
Damn, y'all old as shit.
oh, okay, brother. Okay.
I'm 24, so I'm a bit older, but still unemployed. But still studying as well. I'm still studying, don't worry about
Mood.
it. And it's a pleasure to be here. Oh, yeah, I'm Ben. Yeah, they said my name. Damn.
Hi. Tunch, tunch. I mean, I can't do the Katy Perry.
Oh
I
my
realized I was
god.
practicing. I was practicing while you guys were doing your intros. Summer
Nice.
after high school, but no, it's all in my head, so I can't really give you like an orchestra intro to that, the one that got away. But that's a good sequence because that will be the topic of this week. Because this week we'll be doing the first time we've done this, by the way, a topic that was suggested by one of our listeners. So thank you to whoever who suggested this.
Yeah,
Yep.
Really
fam.
excited to try this
Woo.
out. Although our first topic is a really heavy one really we can ponder on, depending on how you take it. And the subject is, as evident by the Katy Perry song in my head, is the one that got away. This is really simplistic in its wording, but it can, however, suggest a million things depending on where you are, the environment you're in, and the perspective you have currently. So, first question to all of us: how do you usually interpret the one that got away? Tunch, tunch.
okay, dude. Okay, you gotta stop. Buddy, we get it. Well, much like the Katy Perry song, for me, interpretation is always when I hear that phrase is, on the romantic side of things, I guess. And I guess that's just how media and the man, I had a good response for this. How media and I had it all organized. How the media and how really pop culture has portrayed the phrase really. You know, the one that got away is that one person who is your perfect person, but they got away. I don't know. But it can be interpreted in so many various ways, right? It doesn't really have to be a person. It could be an opportunity. It could be, um, I don't know, the cake that someone else bought that you were thinking about buying the entire day. I don't know, like it could just be about anything. But initially, it will always be that that person that got away. On the romantic front, just because I'm a hopeless romantic, and that's just how I'm conditioned because of pop culture, really. Aaron?
Well, this is a really interesting topic, especially because just 3 days ago, I had like a 4 hour conversation with someone on this exact same topic, and it's crazy that you thought about it, as a podcast topic this week as well. Or sorry, he took it from one of the listeners. But the one that got away, similar to Abid's view, I think the general description of it would be the perfect person, or maybe not perfect, because that would elude that you would, be together still. But the way I would see it is the right person but wrong time sort of thing, where everything was right, but things just didn't work out because of the circumstances at that phase of life or at that time you were in, which is why it's the one, but they got away, right? Yeah, so that's what I think. But
Hmm. I kind of agree. I think, especially in the way that we've kind of grown up with movies and music, they always paint the one that got away like perfectly, like the Katy Perry song, right? It's like that one person that kind of slips out of your grasp be it an external factor or something that just happens between two of you. It was a really good thing that I was thinking about yesterday, just because when we initially got the topic, so I did some thinking, and I was like, the most mainstream thing, obviously, is romance. But I realized that as a 6-year-old, waiting for the ice cream truck to come by, and then when he comes by and you realize you don't have enough cash, and that ice cream just gets away from you. That's really hurtful.
Very true though. Yo, hard
Mhm.
relate.
That's
Heart
pain.
relate.
That's
That's
pain.
pain. My first heartbreak.
I do have a slight question because this was something I was thinking about the other day. The term "the one that got away" and the term "soulmates," right? A lot of people use those terms interchangeably, but I know a lot of others don't. So I wanted to just, roughly know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that both those terms mean the same thing, or do you think that they don't? So what do you guys think?
Not at all, really. Um, for me personally, like soulmates is very different. Again, there is a conventional meaning or like traditional pop culture meaning where your soulmate is supposed to be your other half that understands every fiber of your being. Um, and more often than not, people paint your soulmate in a romantic light where they're supposed to be your partner or you know what I mean, romantic partner. When in reality, um, soulmates can just be another person who you literally vibe with in the same way. There doesn't have to be any, romantic feelings involved. It's just someone who understands you through and through for who you are, and you understand them for who they are. And, you can go to each other for pretty much everything and anything in the world. And I mean, I've stood by that assessment for the longest time. And I mean, it applies even more so because I would say my closest friend is Logi, and um, for listeners, she's been my friend for almost a decade now, and we pretty much are soulmates in my eyes. But we have zero romantic feelings for each other. Like she's my sister, and that's how I see her. But she's definitely my soulmate because we understand each other on a level that I think very few people would. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to agree with Abe here, just because I think again, soulmates and things like that are always portrayed as the one person to be with you, like the perfect partner. But I think as Abid led to earlier, having a soulmate is more like just having someone in your life who you can so strongly relate to, or they accept you as the person that you are and you accept them, and vice versa, and this kind of bond that you form, that kind of regardless what happens, right, you guys got each other's backs, and that to me is kind of what a soulmate feels like. And on the other hand, the one that got away is kind of like um always sounds like something you could have had but it never could attain. So it's kind of I guess it feels like you're fitting puzzle pieces together when you're looking for a soulmate, because people like to be perfect on the get-go, but that's often not the case, especially in relationships that go long term. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know enough people. But yeah, the one got away and soulmate, I kind of get where it's coming from with how similar it could be, but just on my opinion, I feel like it's
Same.
quite different.
Yeah.
I actually don't. Because the one that got away has a very, not a very
Oh,
negative,
word.
but it does give you a slightly negative vibe, right? It's not something you'd look back fondly, and there's a tinge of regret when you say that phrase. Or a soulmate, you don't have that regret either. And I mean, I can't really think of a situation where you know you have a soulmate, but you know you're you're a soulmate. Like if I call someone my soulmate, I wouldn't call that person, since we're talking about references to people here, I wouldn't call that person a person that got away, in a sense, right? Uh, I think
True, true.
Yeah.
my thinking is very simplistic. I feel like there's more emotional connection, more emotional context to the way Aaron alluded, with the connection between the one they got away and soulmate. I'm trying to see that. I do see that. I feel like that's something that's been popularized. For a person who does not read a lot of fiction, I guess I had to read between the lines and be like, use my The Economist brain and be like, okay, time to analysis.
Economist.
But but
Yeah.
yeah, like it's not something that comes first when I think one that comes to my mind first when I think about the one that got away, right? And with that, I feel like that's a good segue to the next point, because there is that negative tinge to, at least for me, in my opinion, there is a negative tinge when you say the phrase "the one that got away," especially when you refer to it describing a person as the one that got away. But in my opinion, you know I've had a lot of moments where I've thought of things as the one that got away, as mere concepts, especially when I think of situations I am in currently, and I dream about, oh, in a parallel universe, what would things be like? And in that kind of scenario where where you meddle around with your head and you look at significant events that happened recently or that happened a long time ago, but still affect you profoundly, mentally and emotionally, a lot of the one that got away connotations come to me with that kind of thinking. And with that, the point that I'm trying to raise up here is: do you believe in a destiny or a fate? Or do you see things as prescribed, or are you more attuned to controlling the way your life goes around, right? Because when you say the one that got away, it's more of like oh, you've accepted that things could have been different, but it hasn't been. And I think that's why it's a good transition to the duality
Yeah.
between destiny and controlling stuff. So what do you guys think?
Hmm. I
You
think
guys see what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
I get what you mean, Jude. I think it's interesting because when you talk about fate and you talk about destiny, meant, the cheesy line, right? Meant to be together, whatever the case is, right? I'm I myself personally take a more logical stance on it. I have control over who I meet, and in some situations I don't. But whether things work out or not are within my control. That's the position I've always felt. Like if I'm with someone for a certain amount of years, I don't believe it's fate. I believe we both worked hard to maintain that relationship. Similarly to when I look at my parents, uh, you know, I can understand how I people could say, oh, they're soulmates because they've been together for an X amount of years, but I would say, I guess there's a bit of the unknown kind of trickled in there, but the majority of it is controlled in the sense that they both worked hard to stay together and to maintain that relationship, as well as compatibility and stuff like that. But I think the part where I have to draw the differentiation is when we talk about fate and destiny. I personally don't think that applies to the one that got away, um, because I think that would apply to something more like a soulmate. When we think about the word soulmate, it's literally destined, like you're meant to be together. That, to me, that is the definition of a soulmate. You both are drawn to each other. You guys are attracted to each other by something more than by something out of your control. Is my own definition of a soulmate. Whereas the one that got away is someone that was, you know, compatibility wise, everything, it felt right at the time, but it didn't work out. And this could apply for romantic relationships, for friendships as well. You could have people that feel 100% compatible with, but it just doesn't work out. And like you said, you regret the missed possibilities and the missed chances of what you could have developed from that relationship. So, I mean, looping back around to whether I personally believe in destiny and fate, especially when it comes to relationships like this, I would say I have a belief of like natural order and like an unknown force, but I won't necessarily say that that force overrides my control of my actions and what I'm doing, if that makes sense. Like, I do believe that it has a part to play, but I don't believe that everything in my life is controlled by that. I feel like I have to work hard to get to what I want, and things, I have to physically do things. So, yeah.
Um, I mean, this is a very interesting notion and a very tough topic to tackle as a whole. Um, because destiny, fate, all of this, you can bring in spirituality and talk about a lot of other stuff. But for me, I do firmly believe that there is or there are certain things in your life that is meant to be like happening to you or given to you or whatever. Like there is destiny and fate at play, and it's supposed to happen. Um, but I also firmly believe that it, as Aaron just said, it doesn't override every sense of who you are, and that you can't control anything because in reality you should be able to control most of your life. Um,
Mhm.
doesn't mean it's always the case. There is some chance to everything, right? There is a percentage chance to whatever situation and scenario you're in. Um, but for the most part, I am a firm believer in destiny and fate. If we're relating it to the one that got away, again, it gets really complicated, and I feel like there's a fine gray line between what Aaron was. This is where I kind of disagree with Aaron in that you know the one that got away. Sure, you could have maybe changed that, but they could have changed that too. I don't know. There could be external factors going on that didn't allow it. Those external factors could be fate coming in and making it not happen, right? It's up to interpretation, but at the end of the day, for the most part, you should be able to control most of the scenarios and situations in your life. And sure, there is chance and destiny and fate. And I think it's fate that all four of us are on a call right now talking about fate and
Mm.
destiny. But um, there was control involved in showing up, right? Like Ben wanted to show up, Aaron wanted to show up, I want to show up, Drew wanted to show up. We controlled ourselves. We showed up on time. We planned this. We were organizing, right? We you can
And
apply it to every situation. Again, there's no black and white, but
that's
it's a
some
complex
destiny,
thing.
baby.
Yeah, some destiny, baby. Oh man, I miss playing Destiny. Anyway, Ben.
Uh, okay. So I think destiny and things like fate, there are very similar explanations or descriptions of the words destiny and fate. The way I kind of see it is your destiny is something that, doesn't change, right? Something that end all be all, no matter what happens in your life, that will happen. Or you'll be on this path and you will stay on that path. That's destiny, right? Fate to me is it's kind of more dependent, I think, on what you do on the path that you're on. Let's say you're doing something, or you're driving down the street. You could have turned left, turn right, decide to turn right the last minute. If you turn left, there was a car accident. Who knows? Your fate changed based on what you did. I mean, that's a very simple analogy I've got going on. Obviously, it's not that extreme, but it could be. And as to being in a controllable setting, again, this is where I feel like the layers kind of overlap, right? That's where they interrelate. Whereas you can change your fate depending on what you do, which is, when you're in a controllable setting, something that you can change, something that you can, kind of affect to have a different outcome. But at the end of the day, that's your destiny. You were meant to make this choice. You were meant to be fated in such a way, if I can say so. In regards to the one that got away, it's tough, man. The one that got away could just be because you weren't destined to be with that person. Like I think like Abid said earlier, that person might have changed something, something else might have happened beyond your control. Maybe you were destined to get together or not. Um, and that's really what happens. So I feel like I personally do believe in destiny and fate. As a formerly very religious person, I think destiny is something I hold on to very dearly. But I do feel like you can change the path that you're on depending on the choices that you make and the people you surround yourself with, because the world's so big. There are literally infinitesimal possibilities of things that could happen. So as much as you might change things or try to change things, sometimes things just get away from you and you can't help that.
Yeah, that's true. This is
Same.
actually a tough proposition because when I asked that, I didn't necessarily tie in destiny and fate to the one that got away, right? But it is a conceived notion in a lot of plots regarding the one that got away. Like, oh, I think about that person as the one that got away because I feel like I had like fate was meant to be that we were supposed to be together, but we didn't. And that's a very very recycled plot notion that I hear a lot.
Yeah.
But in my my own experiences, when I personally think of the one that got away, it's very nuanced. It's when you usually go to places that are very nostalgic, very that trigger that emotional feeling, whether it be a romantic feeling, whether it be a feeling of lost friendship, but that subtle feeling what you get when you go to a nostalgic location and you immediately think of conceptions as to what would have happened if this were to to happen, like this significant event to happen, and that immediately produces a lot of scenarios for me, at least, like, okay, this is a scenario where that person got away, this is a scenario where that concept got away, and I never really think about the fact that, oh, I could have controlled this as much as I do, like as much as I hint when I ask the question, right? I just very immersed in that feeling, and I barely think about, oh, what if I had done this, right? Like, which is very contrary to what you normally think of in a typical the one that got away plot, where like the person longs for a certain situation to happen and wants to reverse that, which at least I see mainstream media portraying the one that got away notions as, right? It's a very subtle thing for me, and that's why I feel like it's a very applicable topic for me, even though it's not as conformed to the mainstream idea. And but with that, since I've shared an experience of mine, or at least like a resemblance of that theme to what it means to me, what about you guys?
Hmm.
Okay, I
Okay.
was worried I had to put in music, but yeah.
No worries. I think when I think about, obviously the first thought I had about the one that got away is always going to be something romantic. I think it's just how my brain's kind of wired at this point. But I'll let someone else talk about a person, maybe if they do, their choice. Um, my one experience of the one thing that got away from me, which I know would have pretty much changed my life entirely, was when I was in high school. I guess I was 14, but it's considered secondary school, right? I'll say that. And I was the youngest student in school drafted into the school football team. And our coach for the school was an ex-national player with ties to state teams, the amateur semi-pro scene in football here in Malaysia. And if I hadn't left that school, I would have eventually tried to pursue football full time at that age. But I left school because um, the education system in itself wasn't really beneficial for me. It was a very homeschool center. So you go to a center and you sit in the cubicle and you do your work and then you go home, which is really not an environment I thrive in. So yeah, who knows? This was like, how old am I? Gosh, that was 10 years ago. That's a decade ago. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I feel like my life would have been significantly impacted
Yeah.
Bro,
if
what
10 years
is
ago I decided to
time,
play
bro?
Man's
What
football.
man's
is
would have been
time?
messy, dude. Yeah.
I'm still messy though.
Mat
Yeah.
Saleh Messi, bro.
Flex out, flex. It's interesting because I was just while you were talking, I was also thinking the one that got away is kind of um I think people naturally think of it as romantic relationships because as Jude was mentioning, it's a common plot. It's really a common plot, right? But it could also mean opportunities that got away. Uh, and I think that's a really interesting concept as well to think about. But personally, whew, I've never really, like I mentioned earlier, um, I've always seen things as more like controlled in my life. Like if something happened and I lost something or I didn't achieve something or I lost a relationship, I always feel like that was because of my actions at the time. So I never really looked back on it as like the one that got away. For me, it's like, oh, I did this and this was just the outcome, right? Uh, so in that sense, there's not many unique situations where I'm like, oh, that's the one, that one that got away. But I guess if I were to pick one, it would be, I was supposed to go to the US to study after I finished my ADP program here in Malaysia. Uh, for you guys that don't know, ADP is an American degree program, and it's a 2+2. So you do 2 years in Malaysia, and then you go do your 2 years in America, and you get your degree. So due to a lot of external factors and personal factors, I made the choice to stay in Malaysia, and that really would have split the direction of my life, who I'm with. Like, I wouldn't be in this call probably if I went to America. I would be pursuing a different style of life. I don't know. Like, a lot of things could have changed, and there are times where I kind of just sit down and I think, um, I wonder how different, like what fate, since we're talking about fate, what fate or what destiny I would have if I took that chance. And I guess there may be a slight bit of regret there, which kind of fits in with the one that got away. But it's more so just curiosity of who else I could have become. But yeah.
Damn, y'all got these all sentimental. Nah, man, for me it's some bullshit bitch that no.
Down
Yo,
terrible,
for real.
really.
Down bad, dude, down bad.
Man, no, I'm trying to lighten the mood, man. I mean, I'm sure all of us have been in situations where something's gotten away from us, um, and some of us more than others for sure, unfortunately. Um, since you guys gave professional answers, I'll just do one cheap romantic one. This person seemed okay. So whenever I think of the one that got away, three situations pop in my mind, but then I think about it really, and then two of the situations is because of me, so not really that they got away. I let them get away. But the one person that got away, again, it's all timing factors and a lot of issues. But I always thought about how different my life would be as a whole if that person didn't get away. Um, and how again I think the what ifs and thinking about how different things would be has always been what lasts with me. Sure, there is a little sense of regret, but for the most part it's just the what if, what would happen, I guess, is what really sticks with me.
Mhm.
But yeah, fuck these hoes,
Yeah,
that
for
little
real.
bitch leave
For real.
fucking leave her. Hey,
Literally and figuratively, or just wait,
Alright,
huh?
every
calm
way
down, dude.
possible, brother, every way.
I'm trolling.
Like as Ben was saying
I'm
in
not trolling.
anyway, as Ben was saying in the chat, like love isn't cheap, homie. So it still holds a bit of a. It actually still holds a significant value, whatever experience you're having. So yes, thanks for coming to my TED talk. Anyway, let's
Why didn't you say the other thing in chat, G? Let's move.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah. In bed, things get away in bed too.
Wait,
So
what?
Whoa,
Whoa,
we were talking
whoa,
about
whoa,
that.
dude. We were talking
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
yeah, same, bro.
Speaking of
Sometimes I roll off my bed, my pillow
speaking of
drops down.
ambiguous
Yeah, same.
topics that we like to twist to our own experiences, let's try to twist it back to the general notion of the team itself, the one that got away, and look at it from a cultural and popular, a mainstream kind of lens, in a sense, right? First song you think about when you think of the one that got away, clearly, right? Like, I mean, does anyone have any objections to Katy Perry's?
I do. I don't think of that song.
Okay, okay, okay. No, I mean, yeah, like for me, as a person who has limited knowledge of artists, like I think that's so easily my go-to. But Aaron, please enlighten
Okay,
us.
y'all fuckers gonna laugh, but the song that I think of that I just kind of I'll shut the fuck up. Alright, the song that popped into my head was "Let It Go" by Passenger. I think that's
Also, a
Damn.
good.
like I don't know, like when I
Damn.
think of that song, it's literally like I don't know, it kind of fits that vibe for me. So
That is fair.
that would be it for me.
Yeah, I think
What about
of
you guys?
the Katy Perry song and this other song that I don't want to mention, but I think of a very different particular song that entails to a specific person. So yeah,
I
that's for
don't,
me.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I have a song. I feel like I'm one of those basic bitches who immediately thought of Katy Perry's song. because I'm not original. I can't think of one. I'll just say for memes, I'll say it was "Reckless with My Heart" by the LEC. If anyone knows the EU League of Legends scene. I'm just being a nerd, but I think there are a lot
Banner
of
nerd.
songs that signified, I know, the ones that got away. One of the ones that I kinda, again a basic fanboy. I kind of thought of an Eric Rappert song when I thought about the ones that got away, or the ones that were meant to be. I feel like Get More was one of them, just because he talks about the people who will just get up and leave and ciao, right? Those people that you think you would stay, but then they don't. So you just gotta get up and deal with it and kind of move on.
Banger track,
Yeah.
by the way. Banger track.
True, 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 true. Cold World not on Spotify.
Damn, you're getting
Wait a
paid?
I wish.
like a sidetrack, but we were talking a lot about music, right? Musical references to the one that got away. I was actually really curious. I'm not really an artistic kind of person in the sense of, fine arts, but I looked it up, like the one that got away painting, just to see how people would visualize that kind of notion, right? The one that got away. And here's a beautiful one by by an artist called Lorna Doyan, LORNADOYAN. And if you guys, I mean, for the peeps here, you can just click the link that I sent in the chat. But like for the viewers out there, her image is of she's a sculptress, and what she portrayed was portrayed the one that got away was as butterflies radiating from a center point, and there's one butterfly that's asymmetric from everyone else. Everything else is in unison except that one butterfly at the top right, being that person, like being how do you say it? Being an oddity, like being that imperfection in the entire painting. But in reality, that painting only gives like more meaning just because of that one butterfly in the corner that's different from everyone else. It's a
Wow.
very unique perspective, dude. What do you guys think? I mean, I know I just threw the shell at you with regards to, oh, here's a
Man,
painting, here's one butterfly, but I mean, I only recently found this like 20 minutes before the podcast because I was really curious. How does art portray the one that got away? From modern artist perspective, this is actually pretty cool. It
I
is,
mean,
right?
this painting that you just threw at us. Honestly, it is a very accurate representation
It
of
is.
of the phrase, right? And I think the one thing that really drew my attention was how there's a one spot missing for the one that got away.
Yeah,
If you
good catch.
guys see it in the painting, and honestly, I kind of caught that even before I saw the one that got away, because I was looking at it, I was like, oh, there's a spot missing, and I see, oh, okay, there's just one on the side. And I mean, art is art, right? Music is art. uh, Sculptures are art, and it's there's definite meaning behind all these. And I mean, it's I think the songs we've discussed, the painting that you just threw at our face, so I don't really have a lot of formulations or thoughts. Um, they're very good representations of the phrase. And I mean, I think the art does a better job where it leaves it a little more ambiguous, where the music may get a little more specific on romanticism. But yeah, good painting.
Yeah, a bit kind of stole my point because you saw it first, I believe, or before I could say anything. But I guess in this manner, because the butterflies kind of arranged like spherically, right? It's a flat circle, but it doesn't look like the romanticized view that people would have of the one that got away. Like, everyone thinks of a lost loved one. This one kind of looks like this is the one that got away from almost perfection. Because if that butterfly was, the same color, because this one that's not on the pattern is painted gold, I believe, from what I see. Yeah. So this one is almost perfectly fitting. It would have fit, and it would have been perfection, like the perfect sculpture, the perfect design. But I guess in the abstract feel that I kind of get from this painting, it's like it's just the way you express how much, I guess, in a way, how much hard work you could put into something, and how much dedication and time you would put into, something like the sculpture or this painting. But one thing might slip up, one thing could change. It only takes one minor thing to change to kind of break it all down and not have it be the perfect thing you want it to be. I love it. I think this is a really, really creative way, and I don't think this is a way that a lot of people might have imagined at first. But when you look at it, you can't help but agree with the title for The One That Got Away. Also, it's really expensive. My gosh.
True. Dude, I was looking at the
Bro,
price
I was
and I was
gonna
like,
buy it, and then I saw the price, and I was like, ooh.
dude, the
not yet.
first thing I looked at was the price, dude.
Modern sculptures, yeah. Anyway, Aaron.
Well, I think the other two have talked about most of it, but the one thing that the first thing that I noticed about the painting was the value that the butterfly that's on the outer ring, the value it adds to the painting itself, in the sense that Ben said, you know, it's away from perfection, right? It's not fitting in where it's supposed to fit, and I think because of that, it actually adds a lot more value to the painting because of, you know, what you can interpret the meaning as well. And I think that may be, I don't want to look too much into it, but I think that may also represent the value of having that one that got away. Like, yes, there's a certain sense of regret, you know, for some people when they look back and they say, what could my life have been instead? But I think having that experience and having that in your life at all, we learn a lot from that, whether it's a relationship, whether it's an opportunity that we missed, or, you know, it could have opened up new opportunities. The path that we're on right now is the added value, you know? So that is what I got from it. I'm reading in a bit too much to it, but overall, I think what Abid was saying about how art and music, you know, it's really open to interpretation. I think that's really beautiful about that too. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was a pretty good analysis of one painting did, right? But like, I think what stands out to me is that if that golden butterfly wasn't there, this would have looked like a regular painting, and I would have less interest in it. So
Yeah, exactly.
it
That's
really
a,
puts a
that's the
lot of
same way I
perspective.
feel. Mm-hmm.
It really puts a different light on the way we portray the one Galway. But Abid alluded to this before, where there's a lot of ambiguity. Not basically in mainstream media. They like to specify things with regards to songwriting lyrics, but when you think of the notion the one that got away, there's a lot of ambiguity, and I think that's a good thing because it tends to be personalized to the way people feel and the way people experience things. But what would the resolution be with that regard? Would we be fine if, for example, we had a significant the one that got away life event, and as evident by our descriptions of what we've experienced, I think we have, right? Do we leave it as that ambiguous moment that we look back to fondly from time to time, or what's the resolution, basically, guys?
Wait, can
I
you
don't know.
rephrase the question, Jay? It's
Uh,
yeah.
it's less of a question and more of an afterthought. What now? We've talked about the one that got away. What do we do with this information, right? Is it to leave it as it is, or do you guys think there's more to talk about with regards to moving on, for example, or finding perseverance to flip a new chapter in your life? What's the resolution, if there is any?
I think with anything to do with the one that got away, or if you tie it back into destiny or fate, I kind of think about being in a fork in the road. You choose either left or right. But in regards to what we can do about it once it happens, I think I guess this is kind of a cop out answer, but you kind of just have to carry that sense of duality with you. Whereas you can be affected by what happened. Obviously, you just have to take your time to get through it and get over it, because what are you going to do if you hold on to that knowledge forever of something could have been if I had only done this different, or something could have been if something else had happened instead of whatever else actually did happen. And I think that you just kind of have to I think you put it out really nicely in the topic when we got it. It's to kind of persevere, and it's to kind of grow from the experience and learn that not everything is just going to go your way. Some things will throw curveballs at you and you can't really do much about it. um all that matters is how you swing the bat when the ball comes, and you're going to go for a home run or not. Yeah.
True. I mean, I'm on the same uh, mindset, I guess, or trajectory. I think the phrase is the one that got away, and I think God is the emphasis word, right? It already happened, man. The resolution is you ponder on it, you think about it, you learn from it, and you move. There's no
Mhm.
point sitting there and dwelling.
Yep.
It hurts. It does nothing but hurt you. And I'm speaking for personal experience there. So just move on from it. Whether it might take a day, it might take a month, it might take a year, whatever it may be. Just try your best, move on from it, and you know, try and not let them get away again. That's just how it's gonna go.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that and Abid phrased it perfectly. I think moving forward, if anything, we need to start. We need to stop kind of looking back with regret and start looking back with more fondness and more acceptance of what we learned, the experiences we've had, and if they got away, they got away. Like you move on with life and you look forward. Like even though that person may have gotten away or that opportunity got away, what you've learned, you take forward with you, and that hasn't gotten away. That's still with you, and I think that's very valuable. And people need to put more importance on that. So, yeah.
All right, I guess that's a succinct way to end the topic. Very deep topic, and I think we've done it justice with the amount of content we've provided.
Mm-hmm.
Regards to us looking back and being nostalgic about certain experiences, that leads us to our question of the week, though. Our question of the week is: what is one taste that you will never forget? And like taste as in like culinary taste, like taste. But I don't want to be too
I'm gonna go.
ambiguous with this. For me, I'll go
Pass,
first.
bro.
Oh my god. Anyway, for me,
Dude,
for me,
who
it
would
would
have
be
known? Who would have known?
there's an ice cream shop nearby in UCLA, and they serve rose saffron ice cream. Very unique, and it's a very Mediterranean taste, but I can never replicate that taste anywhere else. But like, forget ice cream, just the taste itself. So yeah, saffron and rose ice cream.
Dude,
Definitely.
for me, it would be satay, like beef satay with like kacang sauce on it, dude. Oh my god,
Oh,
dude. I can replicate that taste in my head. Like I know exactly how that tastes like. That's like my favorite thing ever. And it also brings a lot of nostalgia and childhood memories, so. Oh, for people that don't know, satay is like it's like meat skewers.
Meat
Yeah,
skewer.
it's meat skewers basically. I don't like describing it like that, but yeah.
For me, it's this. Honestly, Jude and I are pretty similar on this. For me, it's this Ferrero Rocher slash Nutella slash something else gelato that I get near my house. And I'm not a big ice cream or gelato person, but this place had me hooked on it for a while, bro. Like I went there like 2-3 times a week for a while. So yeah, it's again basic flavors, but I feel like the way they did it and the experience kind of hard to replicate. That taste is stuck.
I guess I'm on a similar boat. I guess with desserts and stuff. There's this one place called the Humble Pie or the Humble Pie. It was in Subang Jaya, more accurately
Facts.
SS15. It's closed down now. They closed down in like I think 2016 or something. But they had the most delicious banoffee pie that I had
Ooh.
once, and I just had to go back for like every week. It was pretty. It was. I guess it's not too pricey. I guess it was like I think it was like $10 for like a 4-inch diameter pie, which is actually pretty worth. You absolutely gobble it down, and I think that was probably the most delicious pie I've ever had, and I'm very sad that they've closed down since.
And dude, big pain.
But I'll never forget it.
pain. Anyway, let's go straight to our song recommendations because it's been a heavy episode. Who would start off first?
I can go. My song recommendation for this week would be, I think it's pronounced Skeggy by JID.
Ooh,
Nice.
JID.
For
JID.
me, it's kind of a throwback from last year, but Diva by the Kid Leroy featuring Lil Tecca. I don't know. I've just been bumping that lately. Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna expose myself as a kind of a nerd with this one, but I recently rewatched the old 80s Transformers movie, the animated one. It's
Okay.
really, really old and made me think of this one song that I reconnected with. It's called The Touch by Stan Bush. And it's just the perfect song for the scene that it happened in the movie.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert: Optimus Prime dies.
Whoa, whoa.
It
gosh,
came out in the
Whoa.
80s, so you're gonna you
I
can't
mean, it's
drag me into
like
this one.
40 years ago. If you
Yeah,
haven't
True,
watched
true,
it, you're
true,
not
true,
gonna
true,
watch
true.
it.
you should watch it
I just
either
want to
way
be that
though.
one guy.
Yeah. Gen
Anyway.
1 Transformers.
Shiny. Oh, what? Anyway, let's go away from Transformers. Shiny, the K-pop group, is back, but I'd like to highlight Taemin's
Wow.
one. Taemin is, the youngest one. Taemin's new, not a new song. It's called "I'm Crying" by Taemin. Very relatable. But with that, it's a wrap. Thank you once again for tuning in to the ATSCast. It's been our 7th one, guys. So thanks for featuring and
Yes,
to,
sir.
to the guys here and to all the listeners out there as well. And
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If you guys have any topic requests, feel free to shoot us to DM, or when we do a next poll, feel free to let us know. This was fun.
ATS Live.
Bye,
ATS.live
everyone.
with 2 E's on all socials.
Yes,
Jason,
one.
hit him with this outro.
Yes.